got? It was a good day. I think we had a good day today. A lot of fun out there. Obviously, great to see a great crowd, see the Gator Nation out supporting us. People having a lot of fun. And like I said, today's a lot about a celebration. Fans, all the Gator Nation gets to come in and see some new players, guys that maybe haven't played a whole lot. Get to see them out there on the field. Celebration for our guys, our players that have, gone through a big spring. And, worked hard to come out in front of their friends, family, and the Gator Nation and put on a show. So, a lot of fun. What do you got?
Yeah, Trayvon Grimes at the end of last year started to come on, the last 4 regular season games, and then we saw what he did today. I mean, what the potential for him?
I think it's big. I think, you look, we have some guys now with with all our receivers back, not just Trey, but all those guys back, and the quarterbacks back, and understanding the system. And one of the things is you build that depth and makes it hard to combo guys. If you got one receiver, you can kind of bracket them or roll coverage to them. If you got two, you can kind of, you play different coverages. But, when you got when we could go put 3 and 4 receivers out there, including tight end that are matchup problems, it really just allows the quarterback to execute. Take what the defense gives you, and we're great getting into any one of those guys. And, and you've seen that to me of a guy like Trayvon stepping up and being a mismatch out there on the field. And, you want to roll the coverage over to Trayvon, you're leaving Van or a Tyreek one-on-one, or and then you got Kyle Pitts with size, you got the tight ends with size, you got Freddie and Josh didn't play today, but those guys inside, and it's great to cause mismatch problems.
Was that for him? And even a little bit with Kadarius too, just a matter of.
I didn't bring up KT, and KT's a weapon. You can move him all over the field because you got to watch. We didn't do a lot with him today. He played all receiver today. I think he had a pass there on the first play of the game, but. He's a guy that causes problems, and that we can move to different positions and find ways to get the ball in his hands. And that's what I want from offense. I don't. You don't always want to have to design it where you're always trying to get the ball to a guy. We want to be able to just run the offense and take what defense gives us, and having the depth at the receiver position and the talent allows you to do that.
I'll go ahead. Yeah. No, I'll just say, is that something you couldn't do when you walked in here last year?
Well, it's the same guys, but you're talking about now another year. These guys are bigger, faster, stronger, a year in the program, and understanding the offensive scheme and understanding how to make plays within the offense. And so I think you see that growth in year 2 of what they're able to do.
Mark in the middle. You talk about the offensive line and kind of the development that you saw at the end of spring versus.
I thought you saw it today. They held in there at times. They did some, we weren't overly complex defensively today. We kept it pretty simple, just, but, we still got, the key is to me is, you come out, you watch the quarterbacks and the receivers, boy, they look like they're clicking pretty good, and we need to continue to improve over the summer. But we still have a bunch of practices before we have to play a game with that offensive line as we got to go out and hit the road recruiting, because we got to, we're not complete at that position yet at all for this season. But I think for us, those guys that continue to take steps, continue to grow. We have 25 more practices before we play in a game.
Mark up front.
Fairly low-scoring game last year, early. Was it a concerted effort to put more points on the board and open things up a little bit this year?
No, I just think you're looking at a difference of guys that are more comfortable within the system. We didn't, as you have some DBs down, we held some guys, and and then you have veteran quarterback and receiver. A lot. You look at a lot of the points this year we put up were explosive plays through the air, and I think that's just you're looking. The 65, 41, 69. 54, 35, 35 pass plays, explosive plays. That's guys that are older, experienced guys, and knowing the system and how to make plays within the system.
It was 3-0 last year. I think you got your first point in the first quarter.
Was it? Yeah. What was it this year? A lot.
35 points. Following up on that, though, the defense, it was going vanilla or something, wasn't it?
We don't, didn't make a lot of defensive calls, and we, held a couple players out. But I do think, I think also though, if you're gonna be vanilla on defense and you're gonna put a veteran quarterbacks out there on the field, say, hey, they're only going to run these 4 defenses. I mean, before the ball snapped, they'd know what every defense was going to be pretty much, I think. And they can pick you apart. And it was good to see them do that when we kept it pretty simple, on the defense side of the ball. But, you have to, even offensively, we kept it somewhat simple offensively, too. Because one of the things that I like, I don't say everybody do, is, when you split the team like we do, I mean, that's not easy to do. Especially in spring, because, your numbers, you don't have lots of numbers, and to go split it, you got to keep it simple because you're playing a lot of guys, and, some guys aren't as experienced as others, so you try to keep it simple so they can just go out there and at least execute.
Until that terrible pick six, Felipe looked pretty good. How would you assess that performance?
Lito did a great job, he's made a lot of big plays in the swamp, and you just see his spray. He still got it, that step on the ball and that break on the ball. No, I thought he's had a really solid spring. And it was really good to see him come out there today. When there's different pressure on him today than there is on a regular practice. You put the fans in, and you hear people critiquing him. As you're playing quarterback in Florida, you're under a lot of critique. And to see him really, that's what you've seen out of him this spring, make good decisions, more comfortable in the offense, getting to different reads and knowing where to go with the ball, and using the offense to make plays, instead of just trying to execute it, knowing when and how to make plays, and he was able to do that. And it's good to see him do that in a game setting, not just, what he's done through spring.
Thomas up front.
Given that you guys weren't very complex today, what are you able to take away when you go back and watch the film of today's game?
Oh, I'm not going to be much into scheme and all that. Be more into effort and, did guys execute and play, and, what type of effort did we play with, and looking, how are guys technically, and because, and like I said, it's not complicated what we did, but did you execute clean? And a lot more just, players. You're hoping out of spring, there's, you say, okay, we feel good about this many players, and here's our holes and gaps that we need to fill in before we get ready for the season.
How do you balance? Is that something that changes year to year, how you approach the game in particular?
No, it's pretty consistent in the spring game. Every year it all depends on kind of what you got on your roster and veteran players, and of how much they're going to play. That changes, but kind of the makeup of the game is different. Last year we probably had more veteran defensive players playing, and it ends up being a little bit lower scoring game. You have more veteran offensive players playing, and be a little more high scoring in that situation.
Matt, go ahead, Matt.
To follow up on Edgar's question on Felipe, how is he kind of in comparison to Trask and Emery at this point?
I thought they all had pretty good springs. I think you see guys, every one of them has a little different skill set that they bring to the table. But I think, I think they all put up pretty good numbers today, for where they're at in their development, and they're doing it with kind of a scattered group. But it's great to see their continued development of where they're at. To me, I know everybody gets, okay, this guy's the starter, it has to be this way. It doesn't. To me, we're developing as all the quarterbacks. And, if you go back, I'm going to bet they're all within 15 reps of each other at the end of spring of who got what reps. And that is because, you're a play away from one guy, the next guy having to play, and we better be ready. And in our offense, we need really need a lot of great performances from our quarterback to be successful. We're a quarterback-driven offense in a lot of ways, and we put a lot on those guys. So we have to have those guys ready to play.
Dan, why was it so important for you to establish a fun spring game here at Florida?
Well, I think one, as I said, our players work hard, we push them, we demand a lot out of them, and, in the off-season program and the practices. And, we let today be more of a celebration type day, where they get to have fun and in front of their friends and family and all our fans. Plus, we want to make it a festive activity. I know they got bands playing, they got beer trucks and food trucks and all that stuff out there. And, so I want to make it kind of a fun, there's a lot going on today, right? We got, baseball, when's that start?
3:30.
Already? We got baseball, is there tennis? It was this morning, lacrosse. There's so much, it's more of a festival day on campus. And, and the Orange and Blue Game is just part of that festivities, and we wanted to make it a fun day.
Any hidden meaning in the score or the attendance?
I don't know. Oh, I didn't hear the
It's like 39.
34,970.
39476.
Yeah, there is. I'm gonna let you guys figure it out. You guys think about it. Get back to me. Yeah. I don't know.
Zach, over here left.
Coach Huggins has been one of the breakout players this spring. Just what you think about his play today and obviously the pick six?
Well, great, made a great break on the ball in the pick six, and he is, he's a guy that obviously got great athletic ability as a young player coming in last year. You want to see him now. Understanding the defense and really getting a role, getting comfortable at playing the nickel position and getting those reps and being able to play at a higher level.